Shout out to our sponsors at IconBet. Open source, decentralized gaming, no deposits, play straight from your wallet. IconBet, made by the players, for the players. Ion Icon is proudly supported by Icon Nation and the Icon community.
Hey everyone, welcome back to another episode of Ion Icon, the episode where we go around the ecosystem and bring you all the latest news, everything to do with Icon. And with me, as always, but missing today and replaced by Brian. Brian, welcome to the show. How are you?
Hey, I'm going to be filling in for Iconographer today.
Yes, welcome. See, you said it differently. Last time I said the market's tanked when I said it that way. Now
I'm copying you.
Let's hope the markets hold up. No, well, cool. No, thanks for joining me, Brian. It's definitely I like doing it in a combo. You know, you can definitely riff and get views of what's going on with everything we've got to discuss today. But we won't break tradition, Brian. Let's start with markets. I know you're going to talk about something that you just shared with me. I'd seen but never registered, which is quite cool. But before we jump to that, I thought let's look at our ICX chart and see what's going on. We're currently trading at $1.55 on my screen at the moment, and I've always pulled this up for the last 3 weeks. Actually, I had a bit of feedback where they asked for the screen to be made bigger. I am now doing that. Okay. Made it too big. Okay, so over here, the dailies, we can see we've been following that trend I keep highlighting. It looks like we've broken that trend. If you see on the daily, we're currently banging off that downtrend again. That said, lots of exciting things. We've passed, what were they calling, September something, and now it's up October, so
I forgot what it was called.
yeah so let's hope. I think when you're looking at it again, I'm not a TA expert, but even in the last time when we peaked at $3, you could see at $2.29 it went all the way down to this exact point of $1.39, $1.40, and bounced and then started climbing again, and we're seeing that support held from last time. So let's hope the markets have a bit of positivity. I know a lot of the markets at the moment have been, a bit of fear has been driven from the equities and things, and we've had some community sessions to talk about it. I actually haven't looked at what's going on in that space, but there you go. You can see I've got a trend. Ooh, it is actually dumping. Surprised the crypto markets haven't turned and reacted to this, what's going on here. I guess that's a good thing, a very good thing, but interesting times to see how we react based on what the stocks do. Brian, for context, there's this big rising channel that the stocks have been going for months and months and months, and it's actually now fallen out of that channel, and people are expecting, turmoil in the markets, hence everyone's running to USD. But yeah, seems like crypto markets haven't reacted to what's happened on that side of things. We're nothing but up. Well,
yeah, I'm kind of surprised that crypto is holding up so strong. Like you said, there was a sort of a big, I'm not really a charts guy, but maybe you can call it like a wedge or something.
Yeah.
On I think the S&P 500 chart, and it just recently broke out of that to the downside. So people are getting more fearful, and wow, I'm just looking at this.
Yeah. Right.
S&P 500 chart, if you zoom out to the weekly, it just looks like a straight line up.
Yes.
It's not even a gradual thing. I mean, since if you zoom out, I guess since since March of last year, it really does look like a straight line. So
yeah.
I don't know what that means. I feel like when people talk about crashes in the stock market, it's 15-20%. The big crash last year on the pandemic was, I think, around 35 or 40%. But it's just weird because sometimes I also follow some people who trade stocks and stuff, and they talk about crashes. And then I go and check the charts, and it's down 10%.
Oh yes.
And I'm like, wait, that's like a normal day in crypto.
Yeah.
But at the same time, when you're talking about something like the S&P, the total market cap is much bigger. So
Yeah.
if there's a 10% fall, when you're talking in like objective terms, that's a lot of money. So yeah, like I guess we'll see what happens with this.
So
Yeah.
look, I mean, honestly, even I'm surprised because even before that, like you could see, it has had a couple of times where it's fallen out in the last week and it's bounced up, but the crypto markets reacted exactly to it. If it was going down, the market started turning on us as well. Today it just seems abnormal. But let's jump to what you were talking about earlier. I've got this plan B. Could it be that the prophecy is being fulfilled? Give us some context,
I don't know.
Brian.
Yeah, so in case you don't know about this, there's a model to price Bitcoin that tries to take like historical on-chain metrics to try to predict where the price of Bitcoin will be in the future. And it's not something that like you can't predict it down to the cents or something, but like I guess like a range. So the model is called S2F, which stands for stock to flow, and it was made by this guy on Twitter. I think he's like a trader, like he's like a Dutch trader or something. I thought he was on a podcast once, and I caught that. And he made this model that basically takes the on-chain metrics, and it's been pretty accurate since this chart I'm looking at here, since 2010. So that's like a decade ago, and it's been pretty accurate. And the most recent tweets that he was putting out, he was saying at the end of August, Bitcoin would be at 47,000, which if you look at the chart, let me switch over to the monthly chart. Look at the chart. Yeah, for August, the closing price, this is Bitcoin USD on Bitstamp. The closing price was 44,000, and during that month it went up to 52, and it opened at 47,000. So I don't know if this is talking about open or close,
Yeah, but even if you just take close, it's literally bang on the money, isn't it?
Yeah. And for September, he's saying that the price would be 43,000. So I think it is close actually.
Yes, it would be.
Sorry, I was looking at the wrong monthly candle. I forgot it was October already. I thought it was still September. So yesterday was the last day of September, and lo and behold, we closed at a few $100s within $43,000, which was what was predicted with the model. And it's just pretty amazing to me because if you go on Twitter, everyone was calling for a drop to like 35 or 38, and we were kind of stuck between 41 and 42, sort of like it felt like for a few days. It just kept on. I think it touched the 41,000 range like 5 times so far, and everyone was like, "Oh, it's gonna go down, and then it came up and closed at 43,000, which is what this model is calling for. So very interesting. Certainly, it's been accurate for 10 years, but it doesn't mean it's going to always be accurate.
I think this is where we call out, Brian. Everyone, this is not financial advice.
Right,
we are not telling you to invest. All the same rules apply. We're just discussing the coincidence of 10 years in the making coincidences. That this model. Yeah.
It's just like I feel like to some extent, like this has to happen now, because I feel like maybe whales trade to this or something. So you know, the moment that it goes wrong and this chart is no longer accurate, uh, that could suddenly be very bearish for Bitcoin, maybe. And I don't know if like the powers in charge would let that happen. Just speculation on my side. But the model for October is calling for 63,000. In November, 98,000, and $135,000 Bitcoin in December. So it's like a 3x from here. Yeah.
He's revised it. He's done a little bit of a new update where he's saying, based on this model, is sitting at 100k. I mean, oh god, no, 30k is down. And it's interesting. So this S2F model, it says 100k, and then the time model says 30k. So both these, there's obviously many different models, and they're in opposite directions. One of them's going to come true, right?
Yeah, right. Let's hope it's this one.
Yeah, agree. Okay, look, I think that's market chat. This was very. I didn't know. I'd actually seen this tweet, but you see so many different tweets where people show all these charts comparing and stuff. So I just look at it and go, oh, I hope this pans out, and then I dismiss it. But yeah, real good call out. Enjoyed looking at this. How spot on it's been. It's brilliant. Definitely not financial advice. Do not make investments based on this conversation. Everyone listening. Now, let's move on. Quick Iron Icon housekeeping. So, first of all, I wanted to kick the episode off with highlighting Iron Icon now has an official website, which you can see on my screen now. And let's see, do I have to make everything bigger? Oh, crud. Okay. Over here, I want to shout out. So, when I started Iron Icon, and I'm going to tell a bit of a yarn here, Brian, be warned. The podcast, the community follows it, which has been fantastic. Occasionally, people have messaged, thankful, grateful, and wanting to help in any way they can. This particular person had messaged me saying they love Iron Icon and appreciate everything we're doing for the ecosystem and wanted to help build a website for the podcast. At this point I said, look, in the background I had this DAO. Me and Brian were talking about this DAO, and I thought this is fantastic, but I'd rather do it through Rhizome DAO or a DAO of sorts. At the time we hadn't thought of Rhizome DAO. Anyway, I then lost contact with this individual, and after a little while the DAO had formed, and it had been in the back of my head, I should message this person who offered to help. And I didn't need to. He literally, a couple of months later, again messaged me and said, hey, just reaching out again, do you want the website done? I really want to help you out. To this point, then, he's in the DAO, and he built this website for Iron Icon. And so huge shout out. He doesn't have a Twitter handle. I don't know if he wants me to reveal who he is. I don't know him by name. I just know him by a Discord handle. But he built this site. He's very much involved in the Icon community. I believe he helps Parrot9 as well in the background, which all came about through Iron Icon, I believe. So kudos there as well to Iron Icon. But here you can see, what we've done with the site is it will host all the podcasts. It'll host all tutorials to do with anything with Iron Icon. So it's not just stuff made by me for my channel. If you have tutorials, video tutorials around Icon and the ecosystem, message me the links and we'll get it up on the site, and moving forward on the site as well, any Icon articles. So Icongrapher publishes a bit, Brian, I know you publish a bit, and just in general any articles that come out I see, I will link them into the Iron Icon site as a kind of a database to go through. There's one spot to kind of look at everything. The other aspect you probably will notice is a token. Yes, not an Iron Icon token, Rhizome DAO token. We've just left that on as a tease, and that's a work in progress. But yes, Brian, you've been in the background seeing all the work being done. Are you pleased that this came through and the DAO was able to accomplish this?
Yeah, it's nice to see people working together, and that was really the core thing that I wanted to do. To have a place where people can come in and talk to each other And we don't have that much activity in there, but I feel like the activity that we do have, like in terms of like the ratio between, I think they call it like the signal to noise, is quite high. So we don't have a lot of talk, but the talk that we do have has been productive thus far. So I'm pretty happy with that.
Yeah, agree. Things are happening in there, and it's great to see. And this is just a product of, because we had one Archer, whose Twitter handle Archer, he created all the logos, so we used that, and then our community member who actually built the site, and he did everything. So thank you so much for it. And now Iron Icon has a base everyone can land on, and hopefully we make this a platform for just all Icon BTP related news that comes through here. Obviously it means I have to keep maintaining it in terms of adding content, but totally worth it. Cool. So that was that bit of housekeeping. Next thing I wanted to quickly touch on is the bounty program. So everyone, I'm pretty sure there'll be an announcement soon, but if you weren't aware, so Iron Icon in the background actually worked with the foundation marketing team to create this idea. I saw it, we actually saw this quite popular in other ecosystems, and it brought a lot of content creators to those ecosystems and wrote a lot of articles. So try to copy that. So one of the things when we were talking to the teams, we said, yep, we want to make sure we're utilizing a stable coin, not ICX. Hence, you can see the rewards are in a stable coin. What we will try to do now is Iron Icon will be partnered with the bounty program, so we'll be part of the judging process. And on the flip side, we're going to try to make it more continuous. So every week when the bounty program winners are announced, we will have new bounties that are put up. We're trying to partner with a few publishing programs, platforms to hopefully lure more content creators, writers to the project and start writing about it. So stay tuned for a few more updates on that. But lastly, the current two bounties, they're quite big in winnings, but also great topic subject matters, and so I'd like to really appeal to the community. If you know writers, content creators, get them to look at this. I mean, there's 350, there's 3 prizes per it, and you can win 350, 100 or 50. It's totally worth it. And part of this, just make sure when you're creating the content, you're publishing it on your Medium or one of those sites or YouTube, and then submitting the links to the bounty program, which we're going to tweak a bit of the lingo on the site and make sure it's very clear, because at the end of the day, the program is all about content creators creating and publishing. It's not about sending it to the foundation or to the program to publish it on their behalf. So just something to keep in mind. But I'm really hoping we start to see a lot more applications come through. And in the background, as I said, we'll announce a few more ideas we've got in terms of working with some publishing platforms to lure a few more authors into the bounty program. Brian, what are your thoughts on this bounty program?
I think it's great. It's a lot of money. Like if you write a nice post, you have the potential to earn $350. So it's definitely not, like $350 is a pretty good amount. So I'm pretty excited about it, and I'm actually working on a piece for the Icon 2.0 bounty.
Oh, nice.
So that's coming up this month, and
6 days, Brian.
Yeah. I've got a few more days. So but I think like the other side of this is since payouts are not done through PayPal or something like that, it's done with BNUSD. I kind of also see it as a user acquisition cost from a marketing department kind of viewpoint. So, if you pay people in BNUSD, they kind of have to use some of the platforms that we have on the network in order to do something with it. So not only is this just paying people for content, I think it's also a way to get more people involved with different things that we have on the network.
Yeah. And this is just it. This leads to my stage of where I'm going to have a bit of a rant. This is exactly the point of the program, right? And I'll actually, this is something me and Brian were talking about before the show. You would have noticed in the last 2 weeks, there's been a bit of a change. Now, everyone keeps saying marketing, marketing, marketing. This itself is a big marketing component. And on the flip side, I've seen Scott appear on huge channels. In fact, that was the next, like today, all these, they've been tweeting this. I mean, I don't follow influencers, but Bazinga, and it was actually quality discussion. Now, it's probably for Iconists, it's discussions we've heard many times because we tune into everything that's released. But to the reach of how much, 128,000 subscribers, they've all of a sudden maybe just heard of Icon. And Scott is just great at these sessions because he sounds extremely knowledgeable, and he makes things very simple to understand, and he comes across that he knows what's going on in the crypto space in a broad scale as well. So it was a great interview. I actually watched it before the show, but what I'm trying to get at is marketing is happening. I know this for a fact because the marketing team have reached out to people in the Icon community asking, which influencers do you want to see Icon with? And we can already see there's been a few in the last 3 weeks. I've seen quite a few appearances, and even Hoshoshi, what's his name? He covered Ohm in detail exclusively. So it's happening. But on the flip side, this community program, this bounty, it requires Iconists to kind of take that extra step. Here's the foundation kind of rewarding a bit of loyalty to go, well, if you have a skill set, here's some money to be made. You just need to start doing a bit of research and take the time to put something together. So do it. Let's see it. Encourage people to share it.
And the important part here is that like most of the bounty, the topics, it's not like trying to create something new. You're not trying to find out how to fly to space or something. It's like all of the stuff that you would need to know to create a piece of content about one of these topics. It's already out there. So just try to find a way to grab all of that stuff and to present it in a nice looking way, and then you can earn $350. Come on.
Exactly. And so look, and one of the things in the first bounty, I actually had called out I wasn't going to submit it, and what happened in the background, I started getting very paranoid that there wouldn't be many entries, so I just submitted it so that it feels like, but obviously I'm judging and stuff, so my entry doesn't count. So but I was so paranoid that there wouldn't be any submissions. So anyway, this is a real call out to the Icon community, to everyone who listens to the show. If share it, especially go and find the tweets and start tagging content creators. Do anything you can. You don't want to write it, tag content creators, get them to look at it, because $350 to just publish something on their own platform. Keep in mind, they're not being told to publish it exclusively somewhere. So if they have a big medium following and that's how they earn, money, etc., they can publish this content on their medium, on their platform, and still get paid. Brilliant. Just pure brilliant.
Yep. Yeah. There should be a bounty for TikTok.
Hey, we can do that. And this is the best part. You've got an idea for bounties. Hit me up submit it in our Discord, in our Telegram, or even submit a suggestion through the website for a bounty idea. So Brian, there you go. You've just given yourself some extra work, as if you don't do enough.
Indeed.
Cool. Okay, now let's dive in. This is part of the news, and I feel this is very important. So thank you for hearing my rants and I'm plugging it constantly. So what do we got next, Brian? This is over to you. We've got what is it? The migration. So we're getting close. Icon 2.0.
Yeah. So we're definitely getting close. Just for context, back in August, the Icon Foundation, they posted an initial plan for the migration, which consists of 3 stages. So stage 1 is basically a subset of nodes will migrate the Icon 1 blocks using the block import tool. So basically that's converting the icon 1 blocks into a different format for the icon 2 block format. And that requires a subset of nodes. And that was expected to take 2 to 3 weeks. Personally, I think it might take a little less, but I'm not going to, really put that out there. And then stage 2 is all of the P-reps will get ready for icon 2. So that just means basically all the nodes that didn't participate in stage 1, they would have to download a snapshot of the blocks in the new format. And then once all the P-reps catch up with the latest block on the chain, then there's going to be basically two chains at that point. So it's going to be icon 1 and icon 2. And the idea there is to have both chains running on the same node. It doesn't have to be on the same node, but that's the recommended way. And the incoming icon 1 blocks will be converted to icon 2 blocks in real time. So that's going to last for like 2 days. And in the stage 3, it's when like the actual switchover is going to happen. So during that period, which is expected to last 1 or 2 days, it's actually not going to be possible to send transactions on the network. So the node endpoints will be temporarily closed. So like this is like unfortunate in a way, that the network is going to be down for a bit, but to make such a large change, this is what's needed. So last night we had the update to Columbus 5 on Terra, and that lasted for a bit. But that was just like, I don't think the scope of that upgrade is quite comparable to what's going on here.
No, but it did have downtime, so the chain was offline for a period of time, and post that, all the applications took longer to migrate all their contracts across. So, one of the yield aggregators is still out 24 hours later, but that was always part and parcel of the plan. Funds are safe, things like that. So, sorry, Brian, cut you off. Keep going.
Yeah. So the idea there is just like, for such a large move over, there's bound to be some sort of downtime. So I hope people don't see this as like a source of FUD, which I'm sure it's gonna come, but we're trying to warn people. So that's like the stage 1, stage 2, stage 3. And stage 1, we've been chatting with the foundation. We as in a few of the P-reps that are involved in stage 1, and that's expected to start maybe in a week or so. So if you start in a week for stage 1, and then stage 1 is 2 weeks or 3 weeks, and then let's call stage 2 and stage 3 it's like 4 or 5 days. So I think by the end of October, it's quite possible that we might be migrated and running smoothly on Icon 2.0. So I think it's definitely something that's going to happen this month. If not this month, then very early next month. So
Yep. No, great summary. I've had it on screen as well for people to review. I know, look, there shouldn't be any FUD. This is part and parcel. We've seen other ecosystems do this. We've known this is coming for a long time. People may be thinking, but it was meant to be. Just get all that out of your head. We're in the final stages. Yes, if it does take another month, so be it. But it's not like our chain is out. We can still do. We have full functionality. We can do everything. I know Icon 2.0 enables quite a lot, which we're all excited to see. So definitely no FUD from that point. Things that you will see start to happen is clearer communication come out regularly from the foundation at what stages we are, what impacts there will be, particularly when D-Day does come and the chain has that outage for a period of time when the migration is the final steps are happening. There'll be all the dApps, everything will be inaccessible. And me and Icongraph have said this, make sure we're managing, you're managing your liquidation and things like that if there was substantial drops in the market. Now, observing other protocols, they did implement. So again, we know an upgrade just happened in the Terra ecosystem, and what they did with their dApps, especially the ones that are leverage orientated, they put a delay in the Oracle feeds, the pricing feeds, for 3 hours when they come back online, making sure people could adjust in case there'd been huge changes in the market and market conditions. So we hope to get clearer communication out from the foundation soon. That said, I do see a lot of comments, people are in a predicament, especially if they've leveraged up, imbalanced, and kind of don't have any BNUSD to pay down their loan and are waiting for the ICX price to rise so that then maybe they can pay down. Just keep in mind, you still have a bit of time. Get yourself in a safe position. Don't just hands up in the air and hope for the best. Especially if you're yield farming and gaining tokens, there are opportunities there to get yourself in a safer position, because ultimately, I always come back to this. Remember, the liquidation process for balanced is this: that if you fall in that category, it will liquidate everything you have up as collateral, not just the component needed to pay down your loan. So be safe out there, everyone. Very important, especially when we get close to this migration process. Don't put yourself in that position to feel that stress of losing your actual stash.
Yep. Yeah, so just some breaking news. Nim actually just posted in the Telegram chat that we have for stage 1, and he's suggesting a change to the process that makes everything smoother and faster for the network. So maybe we'll have an update on that in the next episode.
Look at that. Look at that. Live, literally. So what basically, Brian, what you're saying is to bring down those times, right?
Yeah.
Awesome. Well, there you go. Exclusive Iron Icon as it happens, and we'll bring it to you next episode. Let's follow that up. Feeling like a real journalist these days. Okay, cool. That's great. I think that's good. A good coverage. People don't. I mean, we're speculating. I do agree with Brian. Apart from the latest and greatest news, I do feel this process will go a little bit quicker because I think in the background a lot has been happening to just get ourselves ready. So, well, fingers crossed. And this was posted, as you can see, on the 17th of August. So a lot has happened since then. Okay. Next up, what have we got? Ooh, balance. So now we go through our regular news section. So with balance, we can see BIP 7 has passed. So if you weren't aware, that was rebalancing. We knew this was to tighten up the peg. So at the moment, the peg was drifting, I think, over 5% or close to 5%. These changes now bring it in so that it shouldn't drift on either side over 3%. Brian, you're more accustomed to this stuff. Thoughts on this?
Yeah. So over the past few weeks or so, we've seen a lot of talk about people getting some of their ICX sold off in order to maintain the peg, and that was because previously the peg was like plus or minus 5%. So basically, whenever it dropped below 95 cents, it could be rebalanced back up. So we actually saw like a lot of times where it was drifting between like 92 and 94 cents. At one time, I even saw as low as 88 cents. Which was kind of immediately brought back up, but a large potential for profit there. But the most recent BIP 7 proposed to tighten the peg to plus or minus 3%, which means whenever it dropped below 97 cents, it could be brought back up. So a lot of people actually thought that would result in more instances of their tokens being sold off, which I guess if you think about it, like if the difference is like an extra 2% there, and there were many times where it was drifting between 92 and 94 cents, then yeah, there might be more potential to bring the peg back up, which means more tokens sold off. But I actually had a different outlook on it. So I was arguing on Twitter with some people that this was actually a good thing, to tighten the peg, and I was saying I thought it would reduce the amount of tokens being sold off. And my main reasoning for that was like, if your peg is plus or minus 5%, and so that's not really like a stable coin there, right? Like if it's constantly at 95 cents,
Yeah.
then
It's a
maybe
95-cent coin.
yeah, so I think like if people are trying to take profits either from trading or if they claim their daily fees and they want to put it into a coin that won't move as much, they would probably choose either USDS or IUSDC, because there's a higher chance that you might be able to claim those for $1 or more, right? So if BNUSD is constantly at 95 cents, even though you might be able to sell your other tokens for more of that, it doesn't mean that you would be able to claim it for $1, because it was quite rare for it to drift above 96 cents before we tightened this peg. I kind of keep a constant tab on this. I make my own charts and stuff to try to gauge like when the price will go up or when it will go down. And I can tell you, like, backed from my charts, it was quite rare for it to surpass 96 cents before we tightened the peg. It was always either 95 cents or lower. So when we tightened up this peg, like if you've been paying attention the past few days, it's actually been drifting between 98 cents, and earlier today it even went up to $1.01. So for the past 2 days or so, I don't think rebalancing has happened at all.
Oh, yesterday
And-
there was a bit. Since the change, I agree with you. I noticed rebalancing kind of went down considerably.
Yeah.
Yesterday there was a bit of rebalancing, but it wasn't as harsh as it's been
Yeah.
since before the 5% drift. So, it's
Yeah.
definitely made a big difference.
Yeah, and it was kind of the opposite of what everyone thought was going to happen, because they were like, if it's always going to drift between 92 cents and 94 cents, if we boost the ceiling to 97 cents, that means it's going to happen more. But I think you also have to take into account that as BNUSD gets tightened and tightened up, the closer it's tightened to actually plus or minus 0.5% or 0.25%, the utility of it as a coin that is pegged to $1, that utility is going to be able to be realized more, right?
Yeah.
So more people will be confident to store whatever that they want to store in that coin versus USDS or which other coin that you want to talk about. But it's pretty cool to see.
Yeah.
And it kind of makes me sad because I was profiting from the moves from 92 cents to 95 cents for a good week or two. So
Yeah.
but at the same time, I think it's great.
Yeah. I think, and so we'll move on. It's good. It needs to happen. At the end of the day, I can't even believe we need the stablecoin not even drifting 3% in my eyes. It needs to be literally bang on dollar. And you can see now it's become a big thing, right? Because as we've seen variations of stablecoin, the mechanics of the way stablecoin are minted, in different ecosystems, when markets are fluctuating drastically, we actually see people start posting which coin is holding the peg. And, at the moment where our coin isn't there, BNUSD, the USDS, USDC, very different coins, stable coins in my eyes, because they're not decentralized in any way. BNUSD is a decentralized coin because currently it's minted with decentralized assets. So, and hopefully it stays that way. So that's a good note. The next part was, obviously people had noticed a lot of rebalancing happening. I have views on this. Look, it's just the way the system's designed. What I will call out, and what you will always keep noticing, is your rebalancing at the moment is always one way, which is paying down your loan and selling a bit of your ICX and paying down your loan. This process, though, is always selling that ICX and paying down that loan at is it 5%? There's a percentage range that it's always making in profit and doing it, but what's happening is, because BNUSD it's not adopted anywhere else, and a simple view, and Scott's explained this in the tweets that I've got on the window, is, once we get BNUSD on the own money markets and into different places, there will be demand for BNUSD. So what we'll start to see is, when rebalancing happens, it will happen the other way as well. So rather than paying down your loan and selling your ICX, you will see your ICX stash grow, and maybe even your loan, a little bit more added to your loan, because it's rebalanced you the other way, buying ICX cheap. So, and I actually spent some time on a call with Scott, because I was like, no, this is going to scare people, and I've argued with Brian as well, and I still stand by my views that no one wants to see their stash fluctuate, especially when putting it up as collateral. But the mechanism is such that once we actually see BNUSD utilized, we should see it always sell at a profit and buy cheaper. So it's kind of a long-term view of DCAing in and out of the asset that you have as collateral. Now, in terms of timeframes, I can't paint a picture there. It is subjective to markets, reactions, demand for the stable coin, how much is in circulating supply versus how much is needed, etc. All these things form what impacts the stability, and then triggers rebalancing. But yes, we're only seeing one side. More adoption will create the two-sided effect, and you'll feel
the other side actually almost happened this morning.
Almost.
Like once it gets above $1.03, the opposite side can happen. But like the last thing that I just wanted to mention on this quickly is, okay, so I think we all need to be adults here. We understand how the system works. So if you're not playing the system in a way that benefits you, it's not anyone else's fault but your own.
Hey, don't go blaming the viewer listeners.
No,
I'm kidding.
And what I say there is, it's like, okay, if you take out a loan and this loan is supposed to be pegged, right? And you're taking out a loan in BNUSD, why would you want the value of that to go down? Rebalancing helps to keep it back up, So if you don't want that to happen, then logically speaking, it's like you shouldn't be taking out this loan in the first place. But so if you are taking out a loan, then logically speaking, you do want a mechanism to be in place to help prop up the value of that loan, because if you take out a loan and this thing didn't exist, what if the price dropped down to like 50 cents or something? We'd all be screwed. So I think there's something to be said there. You should always use the product that fits the use case. So if you're looking for a way to borrow without having to deal with this like constant sell-off or constant buyback, maybe look at Ohm. You pay a slightly higher rate, but there's no risk that any of your tokens are going to be sold off. So that's what I'm going to say about that.
And so this is a similar conversation I had with Scott, and I have opposing views on this, but I think as I reflect, I'd like to paint the picture is we're not seeing the whole side of things play out. And I think this was what resonated with Scott, my conversation with Scott. Once we actually see the rebalancing happening on the other side, I feel that people will feel calmer and about the whole situation. But at the end of the day, look, one of the things I wanted to call out is all this creates opportunity. And what I mean by that is we will see, and I'm betting on this, is we will see some strategies start to kick off via Optimus, probably that mitigates a bit of the rebalancing effect right away. So essentially, because at the moment a common tactic, and I do use this, is I check if I've been rebalanced, I look at the figures, I've been rebalanced, quickly do the math and see if I can purchase ICX back, and am I sitting back at the same value, or base. And usually if it's within the range of when it's happened, I'm ending up with more ICX, because remember, it has sold it for profit and I'm buying it cheaper on the market right away. So Optimus, there'll be strategies and options that present itself that negate this effect. So yes, use with caution. Make sure you're aware of how things go. This is a great opportunity as well for the bounty program, as we evolve it with the content, to kind of break down rebalancing. I know a lot of articles have been written, but I feel personally I keep getting lost in the lingo, and don't really have a clear end-to-end mapping of what would transpire. That's just me and my dumbness, but and I'm sure there are people out there that feel that way as well. So I think there's a real cool opportunity as well to get different takes of rebalancing and different explanations there to kind of educate the community of what will transpire in the long-term picture as well. Sorry, Brian, I think anything else to add there, or shall we move on?
No, let's move on.
Cool. Okay. What have we got next? Next up is Ohm. Oh, this is a good one. So we have our first 30 days done, and now we've seen the distribution. What it was 1 million a day. Now it's the daily rate is cut by 60%. So straight away you would have seen this impact your liquidity pools, the yield you are earning there. Obviously, if there's less distribution, everywhere goes less, and this percentages drop. That said, 400,000 is a lot of tokens still being released a day in my eyes. But that is the distribution model, right? So we will see now this for a year, every day for the next year, 400,000 tokens get distributed. That's all. That's all I have to say on that, Brian.
No, it's what we expected.
Yeah.
So
this is just it. I guess the call out is, we always knew this would be. I think when I keep reflecting in my eyes, it's like, that's a lot. It's a lot. And so I see, and I will say this, I see a lot of tweets. Own price. Eventually it will stabilize, but as long as there's a decent chunk of distribution, it will take a while for the market to kind of and Balance is a great example. I think Balance now, the distribution has gotten considerably lower and dropping every day, and you can see it's not having that much of an impact. In fact, Balance is probably reacting more to market conditions rather than anything to do with the distribution. So that's all there. And I think this was just going back to the rebalancing point. I had lost my train of thought, and I wanted to remember it, because one thing to keep in mind as well, remember, as part of Balance, you're being rewarded in Balance token 30%, to take out the loan. There are other aspects you're being rewarded to use the ecosystem, so you always have to keep that in mind as well. And 1.15% interest on the loan, that's it. There's no a one-off fee. In other protocols, they have similar mechanics, but charge you 20% to 5% rate per year on your loan. Yes, they give you a governance token, but that pretty much offsets the interest you're paying. With Balance, it's not like that, right? You pay this one-off, and then you're getting consistently a huge reward for using it. So, and
if your tokens do get sold off, you always have the potential to buy back more.
Bingo. So, look, again, it's putting context into the discussion and understanding it is different the way it works, but these are some of the things that happen. Okay, I backtracked a little bit, so let's keep moving. I think the distribution, be wary, it's still a lot to come for Ohm, so not my advice or anything. There's still a lot of yield to be made. I'm still in the pools. I actually use the Ohm pools personally to mine Ohm, but then I buy balanced with that Ohm because I can kind of get double what I would staying in the balanced liquidity pools. So that works for me, and I'm sure people have already thought of that and using it to their advantage, and holding what asset platform they want to stockpile, and for me, I know, Brian, for you it's balanced, and for me it's balanced as well. Cool. Okay. Oh, this other bit of Ohm news. I've got so many tabs open, I don't know which tab I'm in. Okay, let's see. I think it's this one. Yep, great. The next bit is... Oh, I didn't have that open. Okay, the next bit of Ohm news as well. We've seen a quick little tweak. You can cancel your unstaking of Ohm tokens. That's cool. So once you start the process... you know what I would like, Brian? I've been thinking about this a lot. I want the ability to move staked tokens to another... I guess then it's unstaked, but like sometimes I find like I had enough and I want to move everything to a new wallet, but then I can't migrate everything because I don't want to go through the whole unstaking process and miss out on my fees. I wish I could there was some way to migrate staked assets to a new wallet and it's remained staked, but then it kind of I'm wishing for too much. I
wonder if there's some like game theory thing there that can be potentially harmful.
Well, next update, when you bring us the latest news on the migration, we can talk about that. Okay, next up, Optimus. So Optimus is live on testnet. I know a lot of people are testing. I've released a tutorial around this if you weren't sure. And there's been a podcast with the team as well where we just learn a bit about the Icon DAO and then talk to Rise, who talks through tokenomics, strategies, how things will work. So it is live. Just calling out, if you've watched my tutorial like you did with Ohm and then not tried out, please don't go in there, play with it. I believe there'll be rewards to users who actually go to the testnet and test it out. In terms of distribution, I have no idea how that process works. I have no other inside info apart from there will be rewards, so definitely take your time to learn how to use it. Take the time to listen to the podcast. If you're thinking, there's only 2 strategies, they actually talk about how the strategy list will grow, and as you heard my earlier call out, the rebalancing mechanism, we could see a strategy put in play via Optimus to negate those effects or instantly reacquire your stash, either way, to keep your loan the same. So there's opportunities here. Definitely play with it. Brian, have you had a chance to play with Optimus?
Yeah, actually, I did it a few days ago. So first you have to claim some ICX to use on the testnet. And if you don't have any of that, you can do it. Stakey, they used to be Sharpen. So they have a faucet that basically you put in your address and it'll send you some tokens on the testnet to play with. So after you have those, you would have to switch your network to testnet within the HANA wallet, and that's pretty simple to do. It's just like right at the top there.
Yeah, it is.
There's like a drop down, and after that you'll be able to log in. And I think I think there's like 2 strategies now or something.
Yeah, so they'll launch with 2, and well, let's see. There's already, if you join their forums, the way they've set it up, there's already people have pitched a whole lot of strategies, and that's what they're looking for community to get involved, and hopefully even community building out strategies, and there'll be rewards as part of the tokenomics for people who put in strategies. It gets voted through and it gets built. They get rewarded, fees and things like that. So it is very enticing to get involved, and we are seeing new teams join the Icon ecosystem recently. Even the other day there was a recent new team that joined, put out a tweet, what do we want to see built? So hopefully we see these teams as well kind of step in and help some of the creation of these strategies to create a robust ecosystem around the yield aggregation side of things, which is very popular on all chains. One thing I did love was we heard Rise actually talk about a future state in Optimus and what the way the platform could actually harvest yield on different chains, and kind of the process be extremely simplified, not needing to migrate tokens left, right, and center across chains. Like Optimus would handle all of that, which is really cool. So the future is definitely bright. Don't get caught up in there's just two strategies. It will expand quite quickly. Part and parcel of, and I keep coming back to the state we're in at the moment. We're so close to migrating to a new chain. So, and this is where we know when new contracts are developed, they need to go through the verification process. And at the moment, given the state of things, those things are on hold, so that we can kind of push forward and get to Icon 2.0, and then that entire process changes and people will be able to deploy much quicker. And Optimus is one of those projects where they are kind of held to that, but post that they should be able to roll things out much quicker. At the same time, though, making sure all the audits are done, and they were very big on this. In fact, I think it's the next tweet, something to do with auditing. That's what they care about. So and they should, because every part of the DApp is depositing our funds into their contracts, and their contracts are automating whatever that strategy is. So security is key, and they need to make sure every new strategy gets audited and verified before using.
Indeed.
And can I just say, Brian, to your point, yes, if you're doing testnet, in my article I actually had how you change IconX, but I actually encourage you to use HANA for testnet, because it's literally, you just have to change it. You don't have to go through that weird process for IconX, and you can use testnet. It's brilliant. And the Sharpen, that place that distributes ICX only gives you 50. I know Ibras have another one as well, and I've got it linked in my notes. It gives you 2,000. So if you really want to feel like a whale on testnet,
I think Andrew has like millions of tokens on testnet. So
of course he does. Token tech guy. What can you expect?
So if you want to buy some testnet tokens, you know where to go.
Yeah, love it. Okay, let's move on. That's Optimus covered. The next thing we have on our list, we've covered the OHM. I had that in. Oh yeah, here we go. I'd messed up my tab, so this is the security. Okay, so Craft has launched their token. The news was originally it's coming, but they have launched it, and you can now claim your tokens and supply liquidity on balance. Just a call out here, so make sure when you're supplying liquidity, you have to come back to Craft, just like you did with OHM, to stake your LPs to make sure you qualify for the Craft allocated distribution to the LPs. Everyone should know by now, regulars listening to this podcast, what that means, because you've probably done the process with OHM. It's very similar with Craft. Add to balance, go to Craft, stake LP as well. But it's live, yeah.
Yep. Did you get any Craft tokens yesterday?
Yes, I did. I had some. I actually went in today and added that to the liquidity pool. But yeah, let's see how that goes. But yeah, I got a few.
Cool.
You?
I got like 3,000 maybe. Not anything crazy.
You already double me. So yeah, when I say a few, I barely had any. Cool, so that's exciting. It's great to see. That's another token. You know what that means for balance, more fees. But hey, has the proposal gone through? So the fees are, has that passed yet? Where apart from BNUSD, SICX?
Yeah.
Okay, so
yeah, passed. So now it needs to be developed.
Okay.
And then it'll go live.
Okay, so we should see an extra token in fees, but soon that's another aspect that'll get sold into balance. So have a good effect on balance. Anything else to add for the Craft?
Not much, no.
Look, kudos to the team as well. The article I have on screen, you can see that they have actually mapped out every step of the way how you do it. So if you were a bit lost, go to the article and you'll literally be able to follow it step by step. Now, Gangstabet. So, this was a big one. We've had them on the show. We know, unfortunately, it got delayed. This again comes back to what I keep highlighting. We're so close to that migration, so the team is quite backed up. And should they be prioritizing stuff for Icon 2.0 or auditing existing contracts? I think Icon 2.0 is winning now. So it has been delayed. However, just before this podcast recording, I saw a tweet or an article, something that the contracts have actually been approved and they are looking to push forward with a revised go live date that doesn't have to wait for Icon 2.0. I hope I did not imagine this and it wasn't a great dream I had. I'm pretty sure I did see this. So just definitely, we're not bringing you the latest, but check that, and they should have a revised date out now. So Gangstabet. And the second part of the news for Gangstabet. So one of the questions I asked very cheekily at the end of our interview with the team, I said, if the project got delayed because of the contracts and stuff like that, could you implement a stable coin to buy with instead of ICX? That way we always know a floor price, right? It'll be great, especially for BNUSD, to get more utility. So it's great to see the team have taken, and I believe a lot of people in Discord have been asking, so this wasn't me, everyone's kind of been hounding them about it, and we can see that they've taken that on, and post the actual pre-sale, after that you will be able to use the stable coins on their store and purchase the NFTs, which is cool. Very quickly they listen to feedback and make changes. So kind of excited that instead of ICX we'll be able to use stable coins. I feel buying the NFTs in the native token, it's hard, isn't it? Because the price fluctuates so much and all of a sudden
that's kind of what I thought as well. But if you look at like the Ethereum platforms, a lot of them also have the ability to purchase in USDC or DAI, but no one does it.
I agree. I don't get it. Even I know in the Terra ecosystem, which is all about their stable coin, but the NFT platforms, the minting process is done by Luna, and a lot of people are questioning it, going, but
it's so weird.
Yeah, it is very weird. Cool. Okay, so let's keep moving, and that's Gangstabet covered. So that's great to see the team adopting. Now, actually, when I say keep moving, that's it. I covered all the bounty stuff earlier on, so that's pretty much all the news we have this week. I think the only other call out was this CPS round. It looks like we didn't have any proposals come through, so it's interesting. Maybe hopefully people have been saving and planning, but if that's
I did notice that most of the proposals usually come like the last day or two, because the price of the token can fluctuate a lot. So if you make a proposal for 10,000 and then the price falls 20%, then you should have actually made it for 12,000. So I do see that most people do, and me too. I wait until the last day or two.
Fair enough. But look, at the same time, no reason keep highlighting this until it's integrated. The forums is where the proposals should go, to have the bit of that back and forth, so that we don't end up and the decks that got put through, that kind of situation where everyone started asking questions through the voting process, and it's kind of hard to tackle it when it's going through it. So that's another whole 15 days process that gets lost. Anyway, look, I think it's been long enough. That is the weekly news. That's everything covered. Next week, early, we'll have an interview drop with a community member from the NEAR ecosystem. So you'll get to learn all about one of our BTP connections that's going to happen. So I've really enjoyed it. I learned a ton through the conversation. So I'm really hoping everyone enjoys that. But from a news perspective, that's all we have. As usual, like, subscribe, share. You need to like the videos and the podcast. Let's get it out there. And as always, thank you for listening. Brian, thank you for joining us this week.
You're welcome.
Take care, everyone.